Y'all. So first of all, we are almost at 1,000, which is like insane. I'm so freaking excited. I didn't really have any preconceived ideas of how long that should take, but I didn't think it was going to take 2 days or whatever. So thank you. I'm pretty jazzed, and I cannot wait to go live and just kind of interact with you guys and show you more of what I do. But I want to talk a little bit about like why I made this account in the first place. I named the account pertaining to energy because energy is like my absolute freaking obsession. It's just everything to me, and I've just had this like relentless part of me pursuing just everything about it, more knowledge about it, more information about it. Yeah. So when I reference energy, I don't mean just like spirit or whatever. I'm talking about the electricity that runs through, everything in this universe. And I don't just mean living things. I mean like inanimate objects, rocks, dirt, furniture, everything contains electricity. Even atoms themselves are a little charged. Darlings always vibrating around. But and they hold data. Did you know that? Like atoms can store data. Anyway, pretty cool. But the energy that makes up the world, like that's the basis of who we are. So we've got, that part of yourself that's energy, that's infinite, your inner guided system, your soul, your, aura. There's a million different things to call it, but you'll hear me reference it in a couple different ways. But that's usually when I say intuition, that's what I'm talking about, is that like energy part of yourself. And that part of yourself is all knowing. It knows literally everything. Like that's what intuition is. You can tune into that. I'm going to teach you how to do that. But when you tune into that, you've got access to literally every piece of information in the entire universe. You can literally access shit from thousands of years ago. It's really cool. Anyway, but yeah. So and then there's your human part, your physical self, that I also reference a lot. And sometimes I give our human self kind of a hard time, but the human self is something to be revered because it's how we're experiencing life, on this earth. It's the way the universe experiences itself. It's very cool. Without it, you're just floating around this blissful being all the time, which sounds great, but without the human self experiencing like all the aspects, the lows and the highs, you can't know how freaking great the highs are without feeling the lows. So that's why our physical body is so damn important. But what intuition is like when you can combine that physical self and that energetic self, and they're together more often. Again, I'm going to tell you how to do that. But that's that sweet spot of being alive here physically on earth and being able to feel that from a physical standpoint, but at the same time kind of be flowing with the knowledge and the broader perspective of that energy part of yourself. It's a very lovely place to be. So being energy sensitive or psychic, what you're doing, you're receiving the energy and you're translating the frequency that it contains, because that's how it stores information. It's all on frequency. And so you translate that and you turn it into something tangible that you can say, okay, like this is what that energy contains. And it's just like a computer or something. If you plug in a memory stick, it's going to pull up the file that's on it. And like that might seem pretty daunting. Like how in the hell am I going to train my brain to act like a computer and pull up a freaking file off energy? But the cool thing is, like, you don't have to train your brain to do anything. It is something that is innate in us when we are born. We all can do this, and we do it all the time. It's one of those, what is that, like involuntary function, just like breathing, that whether you pay attention to it or not, it is constantly happening. And the cool thing is, just like breathing, you can turn your attention to it and do it deliberately. You can take charge of it. And so when you take a breath, sorry, notification. Okay, so when you take a deliberate breath, you're taking charge of something that usually does not even need your attention. And that's kind of the importance of this, is the awareness of it. So right now we're going to take 3 deep breaths because it feels so freaking good and it's my favorite thing. So anyway, take just a full ass breath, like the kind where your stomach is going to expand, okay? And you just feel it enter in your lungs and just, Okay, so 1. You doing it? 2. 3. Yeah. So anyway, my eyes are gonna get all dilated. It feels so amazing. So anyway, what the hell were we talking about? And so when your brain gives a signal to take a breath, and especially with a deep breath, because normally you're just kind of shallow breathing, but when you take a deliberate breath, your diaphragm gets a signal and they're like, we're doing this. So it contracts, and that contraction pulls it down, and that downward pull creates more room in the chest cavity, and your lungs fill that room naturally. And then the opening of your lungs creates a vacuum, which gently and amazingly draws air in through your preferred hole. And then that air, you know, enters your lungs, and the little sacs in there that pull the air in, alveoli, I think. I don't know. I'll Google that. Anyway, and then that enters your bloodstream, and bam, like you're getting stoned over here on oxygen. And just, it's such a beautiful process. Like, it's something that's such a simple thing to do. It doesn't cost a dime. It doesn't even really take time, and you can do it while you're doing anything else. So when you take a deliberate breath, it just instantly like kind of centers you and brings your awareness like right here. And that is the sort of thing that connects you with your intuition. That's the sort of thing that connects your physical body to your spirit self. And that's that sweet spot of, in that moment, you've got that connection, right? So the key is to have more and more of those moments where you are connected with your intuition and your physical self. Okay, so why am I talking about, you know, breathing and stuff when we're talking about psychic awareness? But it really does run parallel, and they're also connected. But just like breathing happens whether you know about it or not, when you actually deliberately focus on it and turn your awareness to it, you get so much more out of it. You can feel the air filling your lungs, you know, and you feel there's something innate in us as human beings, living beings, to just have reverence for breath. It's just an amazing thing. As it fills your lungs, you're just like, wow, you know? And that's why things take your breath away. You know, when you get overwhelmed, it's the first thing you do. You take a deep ass breath, because it centers you, okay? Well, your intuition is no different. Like, it's always down there, just constantly receiving things and giving you information, bop, 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 all the time. And when you're not aware of it, you're not benefiting from it. It's just down there doing it like all the time, just like breathing. Like, you can't stop doing it because it's part of you. It's innate in you, and it's that involuntary function that never stops. But when you turn your awareness to it, just like the breath, you can start to benefit even more from it. And you do benefit from it more than you know. Like, there's a lot of, I don't really like the word subconscious, and I'll explain that at some other point, but there's a lot of things going on just under the surface. They're not really subconscious. They're right there. You're just so used to ignoring them that you don't even see them. So anyway, but when you tune to that, just like with the breath, you can receive these things more, and you're like, oh. And so the takeaway from this video that I really want you to get is that just like breathing, your psychic abilities, they're built into you, they're inherent, they're innate. Like, you can't separate yourself from them, even if you wanted to. Like, it's not possible. And it's not something that comes from outside of yourself. So it's really important to shift that perspective. If you had other ideas about it, that can keep you from developing your ability, because how your brain perceives something is really all you can experience, if that makes sense. Like, if you think, gosh, it sure would be cool to be psychic, like I wish I was born like that, then you've already like shut the door on it. So go ahead and open that door, understand that it is there inside of you. You can do it. Of course, there are different degrees of it, you know, just like anything else. Not everybody's gonna be like a pro baseball player, you know, but everybody can like play baseball. everybody that's able-bodied can play baseball in their freaking neighborhood and have fun. And maybe even high school, maybe even college. Like, there's all different degrees, but everybody can do it and everybody can have fun with it. And yeah, I mean, the more you trust that and the more you start giving your awareness to it, the more it's going to be in your life and the more you're going to be able to use it. And so if you wanted to start today or tomorrow, the best advice I could give you is start taking deliberate breaths every time you think about it. Like, make a deal with yourself that when you go to the bathroom at work, you're going to deep breathe all the way there and back. Every time you feel overwhelmed, take a breath and just take that moment to center yourself and focus on that breath. And when you do that, you are in direct link in that moment with your intuition. And the more you do that, the more you're going to hear your intuition, because it's extremely subtle. And that's a whole other thing we're going to get into. But that's where you can start today. Start taking breaths, deep breathing. And when you're doing that, think about, right now I'm in touch with my intuition and it feels freaking amazing. And what does it have to tell me today? Yeah. And I can't wait to go to the next step with you.